All right. You're going to tell me what I want to know, or I'm going to end your life.
He was a cutie little vampire from Ilveria who was a little bit grumpy.
Sorry, I'm going to get back to you on this. What the hell is that?
And after waking up from a little nappy nap, he's got to figure out what's what, now that the misted seas are all bye-bye now.
That is a severe understatement of what's going on.
So now he has to learn about the powers of friendship.
I am not losing my mind. I am still very dangerous to you. You stay in that chair.
Magic.
What about? I know nothing about magic for the most part.
And the power of love.
How? In what way will I be doing anything like that?
Join Dralzna as he and his friends discover the mysteries of Varian.
What friends are we talking about exactly?
Wow, that's really sad.
I don't even know what to say to that.
And watch as Dralzna learns.
I suppose every day is a learning opportunity.
How to truly let someone touch his heart without it being a wooden stake.
No one had better be touching my heart, or I'll be tearing them limb from limb.
And the first thing he'll learn is to not do that.
What? That's... You may as well tell a lootist not to loot.
Join us this winter.
It's spring.
On your favorite podcatcher.
I don't know what that is.
And we'll see if we can get this bitey boy.
That is such a distressing way to put that. I'm an Alarian commando.
On the path to love.
No, absolutely not. I have no idea where you're getting your ideas from.
Get ready for the event of the season with Quid Pro Roll, whether he likes it or not.
I'm deeply concerned.
Well, hello there, everyone, and shockingly, excitingly, never before seen, Josh and I are recording at the same time at the same place.
Whoa!
About Quid Pro Roll.
Whoa!
This has never happened before. It is unprecedented. Josh and I have never talked about Quid Pro Roll on a recording together, ever. Not even once.
That's part of why we got married. We were hoping to talk about Quid Pro Roll more.
Yeah, that was really the whole point. But excitingly, talking about, the new beginnings of marriage. Yeah, that's the segue I'm going with. We were going to talk about Campaign 2 and the character that you built for it after a promo where some lovely, wonderful, beautiful, and effervescent person decided they were going to do like a movie trailer for Dralzna. And I don't know who did that, but they did amazing work, and I'm so proud of them.
Well, it sounds like you're describing Luke, but I don't think Luke did the promo for mine. You did the promo for mine, didn't you?
I sure did. But we're here to talk about the character specifically, like who you built, why you built them, and sort of what your idea was when you first conceptualized of Dralzna.
Ah, yes. So this is the part of revealing things about my backstory where so you know how Solinar was like my very first instant messenger role-playing character?
Solvac, yes.
Yeah.
You made Solvac into Solinar Vacus, yes.
Yes, I did. Dralzna was like my third. So, similar timeline, similar era of my life. I had a thing for creating these like cheeky brunettes who would be like getting into all kinds of trouble. Dralzna was a lighter brown than Solvac, but much of who he is as a character remained fairly steady. Like he's a vampire. He's very dedicated to vampiric things and doing vampiric stuff with people. He's a little bit of an edgelord because all of my characters from then were a little bit of an edgelord. Honestly, I think my favorite early Dralzna interaction was we were role playing on forums on Gaia Online.
Ah, yes.
Back in the day. And there was a really popular format back when I was on Gaia that was blah blah boys versus human girls.
Oh,
It'd be like werewolf boys versus human girls, vampire boys versus human girls, like those sorts of things.
okay.
With the expectation that things would get very like horny very fast. My friends and I, because we're jerks, decided that we would subvert expectations and go full Dracula's castle full of traps. So it was vampire boys versus human girls, but they'd be like
Home Alone edition.
They'd be walking down a hallway and a trap door would spring beneath them and feral dogs would start chasing them through the tunnels under the castle.
I'm so happy you're the person you are now and not the person you were when you were a teenager. Because in this way, we got married instead of me hitting you with a car.
You know, that's that's fair. That's reasonable. I mean, it was all role-playing rules, so it's not, at no point was I god-modding anyone. Like, they would be
that's the problem. That's where we draw the line.
They would be put into dire situations, and frequently they would narrate their way into an escape. Someone had come in exclusively for the horny, and when they realized what we were doing, I should say, they decided to immediately allow their character to fall into the spike pit trap so that they could stop playing in the space.
Well, why don't Guy Online forums, you could just ghost the forum. You could just leave.
You could, but that's bad. That's bad etiquette.
I did not know that, and have apparently done many bad etiquette things over my tenure at Gaia Online when I was but a wee lad.
Oh, and I'm the one who's rude. I see how it is.
Yeah, I ghosted unfun role plays. You created Home Alone Alucard edition. Though, all of this being said, getting into that kind of nightmarish side story, how did Dralzna come from that? Like, he was just sitting in a dark corner, rubbing his hands together like, ah, yes, my fiendish traps. Is that how Dralzna came about?
I mean, not quite. Honestly, if I was to trace Dralzna all the way back to his origination, this only gets worse from here, folks. I'm so sorry. If you were looking for something artistic and beautiful...
how is it going to get worse?
I really enjoyed the Underworld films when I was that age.
No.
I mean, I'm not going to deny where the boy came from.
Oh my god.
So the concept of like a vampire got two swords, dropping from massive heights, hitting the ground in a superhero pose, like that stuff seemed so cool to me at the time.
At the time.
I mean, I still enjoy a decent chunk of that, but I like my characters a little bit deeper these days. So that was the origin of Dralzna. And similar to Solvac, I knew coming into this game that if I was going to bring him back for something, he was going to need a little modernization, let's say.
Lest we mock him until he dies.
So, at first, I had this concept for a character. I wanted a little bit of Man Out of Time, which I think we managed to capture still in his character essence. I also wanted him to be a little bit, like, crazed, a little manic. But as we started interacting as characters, I realized that was, I don't know, it was kind of a lot, both for me to manage and to subject the party to. So I toned down that a little bit, and I ended up, it's more of a, how to put it? It's like he still has his neuroses, but they're a little less theatrical. Like, it feels a little less stage play.
So when we originally, as we did with the first QPR, we did a test where everybody kind of brought their original character concepts and we ran a one shot to see how the characters would interact. How did Dralzna, as you envisioned him, hold up after meeting the other party members?
I mean, at this time, I had the benefit of having done this sort of thing before and getting a character to mesh with a party. So I'd already made several of the adjustments that I ended up making for Solinar. I made before we even got to the initial meeting, because I knew he was going to need to be a team player. I knew he was going to need to be willing to listen to other people and take their opinions into account, even if ultimately he was going to disagree with them. Like, I had a better understanding of how to build a character that's going to interface with a party dynamic in a way that is interesting. The things that changed, well, there's making him less manic was probably the biggest one, because I realized pretty quickly, I was like, thing number one, this isn't going to work great. Thing number two, I probably can't represent this super well. And thing number three, it's going to be emotionally taxing on everybody who has to interact with him or listen to him if I hard commit to this as something he does. And I didn't want to subject anybody to that. So I toned it down significantly. He's still got his manic moments, but there's nothing near what he was like before. The other big thing, and this wasn't something I had anticipated hanging on to from his original concept, is he has this sort of like quiet dreadfulness about him. And that was something that was initially for him, because I already had invented a couple of characters that were loud and bombastic and showy. Dralzna was a much more like quiet and grim, which I recognize, still very edgelordy, but like in a different sort of way. And interfacing with the rest of the party, I had expected that Dralzna was going to have to be a lot more warm and friendly and more of like a face for the group, because that's a role I often end up falling into. And as they were described to me, the other two party members, I was like, well, we're probably going to need Dralzna to be Mr. Practical, essentially. And I think that ended up being true to an extent, but not in its essence. Each of us kind of gets an opportunity to be a little bit crazy about like, oh my gosh, Dralzna would like to go kill things right now. Or Vera being like, oh my gosh, that small child could really use a little bit of guardianship right now. Or Asuka being like, oh my gosh, the ley lines. We need to investigate the ley lines. Like we all get to like let our characters loose a little bit every now and then, which I hadn't anticipated initially, but I'm really glad we've got.
I mean, we've been talking about how the cast really falls into a lot of Trinity tropes, and one of them was the body, the mind, and the soul, and Dralzna fitting the body slot. And how do you think that manifests with the other characters primarily?
I mean, there's definitely a distinct physicality to Dralzna that I think does harken back to his underworld inspirations, because there's a lot of like spinning and jumping and flying through the air, but also a lot of Dralzna's a little bit of the you know what, let's charge in and we can think about consequences later, which I think is honestly a necessary component for just about any party. You need someone who is going to be like, we've spent too much time talking. Now is the time for pushing large red buttons.
So as the game develops and as things go, obviously Solinar in the first campaign had a pretty distinct developmental arc. Do you have any idea on what you kind of want out of Dralzna, or that you kind of hope comes out of Dralzna's narrative?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few things right out of the gate, and similar to Solinar, I have a strong suspicion that as things develop, I'm going to realize that some of my choices make perfect sense, and some of them I'm like, I don't actually need that to be part of his development. I think probably the biggest thing for Dralzna is that realization that the terrible things that he does are actually damaging not just his foes, but also himself and the people around him, which is going to be a tough pill for him to swallow. But I think that's probably the core thing that I want to see develop through him most. There's a couple of other more secondary things. I think it'd be good for him to understand that he can be more motivated on his own druthers. He doesn't have to be reliant on, oh, there's a mission, or, oh, like, this person said that they need me to do this thing. Like, he can have a little more self-imposed will. But we'll see. We'll see how that particular thing develops and in what direction it goes. I'm trying to leave myself flexible because every single time I sit down with a character and I try to build a roadmap for what that character's arc is going to look like, I end up with the same problem I do when I write down what exactly my party is going to do at a table I'm running. Like 2/3 of it gets thrown away so fast.
Is there any final note or anything that you would want to say about campaign 2 or Dralzna, or what the listeners can kind of expect?
I think the final thing I'm going to say is something that we've noticed as a cast is that we're not doing as much like out of scene tangents, but in turn, it's making the in scene tangents significantly more hilarious. There's been multiple occasions where Scott has had to walk away from his computer so that he can laugh so hard that the back of his neck turns purple. And I'm just really excited for people to be hearing that stuff because I'm happy with it.
All right. Well, I know that I'm looking forward to it, and I know everybody else is too. So I'm excited to see what adventures Dralzna can get into. And thank you, everybody, for coming with us on this journey. And we're excited for you to be around for the next one.
Thanks, Rollers. See you soon. Bye.
Make sure you tune in on February 25th as we debut the new season of Quid Pro Roll.